Hello everyone, I hope you're all staying safe and going well. As you can tell, today's video is a little bit different from usual because I turned 20. I actually turned 20 in mid-March and now it's early April, so the first lesson should probably be not to procrastinate. But anyways, these are just some of the most important lessons I've learned. Obviously I can't include everything because so much has happened in the last 20 years. So not in a particular order because I believe they're all arguably equally important. I believe there's so much more to life than just one or two lessons. But yeah, if there is something you've learned in life which I didn't mention, feel free to leave it in the comments below. And without further ado, let's get into it. So the first lesson, and definitely one of the most important ones, is to know that it is your life and there is more than one way to live it. Growing up, most of us are taught the traditional way of life, which is to study, work a 9 to 5, get married, have children, then work more until your time comes. You do not need to become a doctor because your parents tell you to, and you do not need to have children because your grandparents tell you to. Your relationship, your degree, your job, your hair dye, and all your tattoos and life decisions are all yours, nobody else's. So what do I want to do now that I know there is more than one way to live life? The truth is, I don't know. I don't have the slightest idea, and it's okay to not know. But what I do know is that it will include a lot of traveling, pets, self-care, success, and happiness. The second lesson is that it's never too late to restart your day, or even your life. I used to feel that everything was over by 4 p.m, even when I was in high school and got home around 4 p.m. I would feel so worthless if I didn't get any of my homework or revision done. But slowly over time, I realised that your day is only over when you say it is. Sometimes I feel more energy at 10 p.m. and smash out plenty of homework then, or sometimes I start studying at midday and completely stop by 5 p.m. And even if I only get a few notes done instead of a whole essay, I now know the importance of resting and restarting. So similarly to the first two, lesson number 3 is that everyone goes at their own pace. Whether it be for studying or marriage or work, there is no right or wrong time for it. It's never too late to start a brand new chapter in your life. You can start at any time, not just on your birthday or on New Year's, just whenever you feel like reinventing yourself and becoming a better person. When I was 16 years old, I saw all my friends and classmates get a job while I applied for Macca's, KFC, Coles, Woolies, everywhere under the sun and never got a response. So I didn't have a job in high school, which is something I am still a bit bummed about because I could have saved so much money if I did. But after I graduated, I volunteered at an op shop, and even though I didn't get paid, it was still an amazing experience, and it did help me get my first retail job, which I'm still at now. I am still struggling a bit to look for a second job, but I'm still really grateful for all that I have, and I know that I've come really far in terms of just finances, studying, and everything since last year. So next is, it's okay to not know. No matter what stage of life you're at, it's completely normal to be uncertain of your degree or your relationship or your job, and the truth is so many people are, but they don't actually express it. I have anxiety and I hate uncertainty, but I'm slowly reminding myself that I do not need a plan 10 years into the future. I'm just trying to find a good balance between the you only live once, go with the flow, and I need to plan things out to feel safe and stable mindset. Another significant lesson is to be positive, not competitive. Whether you are in school or work or just general parts of life, you do not need to compete with other people. I know this is a little bit similar to the last lesson, but I own up to my mistakes. I admit I was really wrong for feeling envious next to my classmates instead of being really happy for them. Instead, I should have just minded my own business and cherished what I already had, for example, more free time and more time to study. But with that being said, also don't compete with people who have it worse than you, like people who get a worse grade than you. Sometimes in order to grow as a person, you have to unlearn some really toxic mindsets, which can be difficult, and this is definitely one of them. So next is to start saving money. Once again, it doesn't matter what stage of life you're at, there is food at home. Please listen to your parents when I say that. I have spent so much money on Uber Eats, and in high school I spent lots of money on the cheeseburgers from Macca's, but now I can't even eat them because I'm a vegetarian, so yeah, I regret my life choices. And because of all of that, one of my New Year's resolutions is to make sure my bank account always stays above a certain number. And unless I have a really important payment coming up, I always put a certain fraction of my paycheck into my savings. Speaking of money, the next important lesson I've learned is to spend money on experiences instead of items. I know that is really ironic coming from me, considering how much money I've spent on Macca's cheeseburgers and also how many hauls I used to do. I guess I kind of felt like I had to do it in order to fit in and that it was normal and everyone did it, but now that I'm looking back on it, it was a really stupid decision. Of course, I still watch haul videos and I respect people who make them, but now I never realized the importance of experiences, especially with traveling, until I was in quarantine. And now that restrictions are slowly starting to lift, I'm really hoping I can have some great experiences with things like traveling or skydiving or scuba diving. And apart from getting experiences, these things will also allow me to make some really happy memories. Since we are on the topic of making happy memories and experiences, lesson number 9 is do not neglect your physical or mental health, no matter what. No exam or assignment or job project is more important than you. And there's also a quote, I can't remember exactly what it was, but it went something along the lines of, your employer can replace you in 2 weeks, but your friends and family can never replace you. And speaking of mental health, we've talked about taking care of our own, so the next lesson is to be mindful of everyone else, to always treat people with kindness. Because the truth is, no matter how many times we meet that person or see their post on social media, we never ever know what they're going through. It's always a little acts of kindness that matter the most, like holding a door open for someone or giving someone a compliment or even just smiling. With that being said, also establish your boundaries, because no matter what they're going through, it doesn't justify them projecting it onto you and being unkind to you. So be kind for others, but also stick up for yourself when you need to. Now that I have briefly mentioned social media, the next lesson is to learn that social media is not reality. I know that sounds like the most cliche lesson, you hear it from your parents, your friends, these online live life, love, laugh posts. By that I mean you don't actually realize how harmful and fake social media is until, you take some time away from it, spend some time in nature, discover yourself, your hobbies, spend some time with your friends without getting a phone out, and you just feel so free. You realize what people really are like. You realize they're not as happy as they seem on social media. And you realize that social media sets really unrealistic expectations for people in your age group. Social media has made me so insecure about little things beyond my control, which I shouldn't even be insecure about, like my physical appearance or my financial background. Like I mentioned before, the only reason I really did haul videos was because I felt like it was the only way people would find me interesting. I thought that the norm was people spending hundreds of dollars on fast fashion. I've become so conscious about how I spend my money and where I purchase my items from. Like now I've discovered so many more sustainable Australian brands, and I've saved so much money knowing that I don't have to feel pressured to buy things to stay relevant. And I've realised that so many of the items I bought which I don't actually need are so much better when I give them to my friends or give them to an op shop, so they're actually loved and used. For example, having dinner with my family, spending time with my pets, or being with my friends eating junk food and binge watching Doctor Who. Nobody pulls their camera out, nobody uses social media, and it just feels really good. Next lesson is to never ever make assumptions about people, especially based on what they post on social media or how they present themselves when you see them. Let's just say you see a friend post a photo of them going out for drinks. That is only one day of their life. You don't know what they're going through every other day of the year. If they post a photo of them with expensive products or a few products, for all you know they could have been struggling financially for years and set aside a little budget for them to treat themselves to such things. And also please keep in mind that not all disabilities are visible. Since I have spoken quite a lot about kindness and gratitude, the next lesson is that your gratitude does not invalidate what you're feeling and what you're going through. Getting your feelings invalidated by other people hurts. They'll guilt trip you into thinking your feelings don't matter because of the things you have, such as a roof over your head or a job or a significant other. We've all heard that we shouldn't be upset because some people have it worse than us. But if we're going to use that logic, should we not be happy because some people have it better than us? Your uni classmate getting good grades does not mean they do not almost give in to mental illnesses. Somebody being in a good relationship does not invalidate the abuse they have previously experienced in bad relationships. And having friends does not mean that you don't suffer from being alone. Because no matter how good things may seem for you or how many things you have, the truth is life can be really difficult, and sometimes it can be really tough getting access to the support which you need to help you. So with that being said, I'm truly sending my love to everyone faking a smile today. I wish you all the best, and I hope that everything gets better soon. And next is All the Little Things Count. Learn one new word in another language every day, read one page of a book, etc. If I don't feel like cleaning my entire room, I might just do a small section of my closet, or maybe just pick up a few pieces of dirty clothing, or vacuum since I find vacuuming really therapeutic. If I don't feel like filming a whole video, I might just work on sections which I think take less time and energy, for example filming videos with no sound, or writing a script, or planning for future videos. And for lesson number 14, we are going to move on to a bit more of a positive note, which is that bad periods of your life do end and they don't define you. Once again, I would like to reiterate that it does not invalidate your previous or present struggles. It is just something nice to keep in mind. You've survived all your other bad days, every other personal issue, every other financial issue, and so on. And here you are. You made it till this day, and that is something big to be proud of. For example, during some of the most dark and depressing periods of my life, and when I really struggled with mental health, I never imagined that I'd have a YouTube channel. Even though it is a pretty small channel, I'm really grateful for the comments that I do receive, especially from people across the world with similar interests. And lesson number 15 is, even if you can't currently see the light at the end of the tunnel, there are so many unexpected opportunities that await for you. Whether it be in terms of work, school, friendships, and so on, there's a whole world out there for you to explore, so many countries to visit, so many lovely people to meet, and just so many things to look forward to. And I never expected that I'd be able to find such a good group of friends, and I never thought I'd be able to meet Christopher Eccleston at Supernova. I started watching Doctor Who in primary school. I think I've seen all of the episodes he's in, and I never expected that one day when I'm a uni student cosplaying as the 11th Doctor, I would be able to meet the 9th Doctor. He's fantastic, absolutely fantastic. Lesson number 16 is you never stop learning, and I don't just mean in terms of school. Of course, you can go to school at any time in your life, no matter how old you are, no matter what your interests are, but I mean, especially with the internet, such knowledge is more accessible than ever. You can learn a new language online, you could discover new hobbies, new interests, or even meet new friends. Or, of course, you could take some time away from social media and people in general to learn more about yourself, your life, your style, your dreams, and so on. Number 17 is that learning to be independent makes your life so much easier. Of course, this doesn't mean to go against the world, face everything yourself and refuse help. I mean that you should acquire some skills which could really benefit you and make you not have to rely on other people. Or possibly something that could make you save money. For example, I am now 20 years old. I didn't learn to drive when I was 16 because I was way too scared, and now I legally have to have a supervisor watch me, even if it's just a drive to a supermarket. So yeah, learn to drive, kids. But aside from that, there's just so much to learn in your daily life, and I'll do my best to learn the best I can for myself and for my pets. The next lesson is to detach yourself from toxic people and toxic mindsets. If I can find the post, I'll put it here, but I read somewhere that when you first see something out of the social norm, the first thing you think of is what you're conditioned to think, and the second thought you have is your genuine opinion. For example, when you see someone with a crazy hair color, you may think, what the hell? But then you'd think to yourself that it really suits them and that it's their life, their choice, which doesn't concern you at all. Okay, so as an introvert and a pushover, this lesson was really hard to learn, but you don't have to force yourself to do anything for anyone. For example, you do not need to force yourself to drink just because everyone else is. You do not need to force yourself to drive everyone everywhere because you're the only one who can drive. And you do not need to force yourself to stand down when you're setting a boundary. The truth is, there are people out there who would take advantage of you, and they'd be so used to seeing you as a pushover for them to use that when you try to set boundaries, they'll gaslight you and act like you're the one in the wrong. Of course, that is pretty hard to get over because confrontation itself is really terrifying, but once you learn to set boundaries and to know that you are in the right, it makes your life so much better and it really weeds out the toxic people. I don't know who needs to hear this, but you are worth so much more than a little pushover people make you seem to be. You have a voice and you have every right to use it. You have a life and you have every right to live it. And now for lesson number 20, last but definitely not the least, learn to love yourself and to romanticize little parts of your life so that you can find happiness everywhere. Romanticize little flowers in your garden, the sunsets, the forest, the beach, travel, fun facts about the movies you like, taking photos of nature, anything that makes you happy no matter what other people think about it. How big or small or common or out of the ordinary it is, if it makes you happy, you have every right to love it. So that brings us to the end of the video. I'm so sorry it's kind of a long talkative one. I couldn't just fit it all in a short video and there is still so much more I'd like to say, so thank you so much for your patience. After this I'll go back to making videos about dyeing my hair, my pets, lifestyle and pop culture, so if you're into any of that, please give this video a like and subscribe. Once again, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you all stay safe and have a great day.